Hello, my name is Crystal and today we're going to assemble the 12-volt Wizard seaters. So today we're working on a 3-row, but a lot of it is going to be applicable to a 1-row, 2-row, even a 4-row. It's just a matter of increasing your seaters. So first, in your box, you're going to have your double fan. This is a double fan because it is for a 3-row seater. For a single row, you would have a single fan, but for 2 to 5 rows, it's going to be a double fan. You'll have your control box, your 12-volt control box, your pressure gauge, your electrical cable, a fuse for if anything happens in the fan box, and the Wizard seater, and your Tilmor adapter kit. So, first things first, we don't need the pressure or the cable right now, so we can set all these to the side. First step is to install your electrical units into your Tilmor kit. We're going to start by taking a 3/8 wrench and removing all these nuts. Don't forget to keep them close and not to lose them. Now, I'm going to set this aside because we'll need it at the end. Next, I'm going to take this portion out so we can see what we're working with. So, in this packet, you'll find everything you need to mount your 12-volt control box and the unit, as well as to mount this unit onto your seaters later on. So, first thing I need are the small bolts. There should be 4 of them. As well as your lock nuts. The rest of them is going to be used to mount the unit, so you can set it aside. Now, you want to get your control box and mount it in the unit with the cables facing up. And keep in mind, you want them facing up because there are cutouts for that specific gearbox. There should be 4 holes in the bottom of your plate. So here, so you can see, you've got 4 holes right here, and they correspond to your control box holes right here. So you want to make sure to place it at those. I don't recommend you to just put a bolt and tighten. Go ahead and place all your 4 bolts before you tighten. So one of the reasons you want to place your bolts first is this is an open-ended, so it will slide down. But when you have 2 bolts, it tends to help keep it in place. Now if you want, you can actually just put it upside down to tighten. Now you need a 7/16 wrench to tighten these all up. Okay, once you've got that, it's time to reinstall the front panel. It's just a matter of fitting it back in. With the same bolts you took out, you're just going to put those right back in. Again, you need your 3/8. Go ahead and tighten all those back up. So that's it for the 3/8. First step is done. You've got your control box installed. Next step is we're going to remove some panels onto your fan, from your fan. First, you need a 10mm wrench and remove the 2 front nuts from the box. You can set this aside. You can also set this panel aside. Next is we're going to remove the 4 bolts on the bottom. And that's where you need your 13mm 2 of them helps, 1 can get by. If you notice, there's a big opening here. Makes it easy to just have one set up and reach in with the other one. Now you want to keep track of these bolts because you'll need them again. You can set aside this piece, you won't need it again. So now we're going to install the fan box onto our kit. You'll want to set it up on the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and put this upside down. And you'll want the fan to be facing down. So handle towards you and onto the plate. These 4 bolts on the back of your adapter should line up perfectly with the full 4 bolts on the back of your fan. So, with the bolts you took out, once you have it lined up, you can just put them right back in. And now we just want to go ahead and tighten these bolts back up. You want to tighten it to what you feel is tight and won't be moving around. You definitely don't want these bolts to be loose. All right, so we have the fan installed on the adapter. The only thing we need to do is connect the fan to the control box. So we'll go ahead and put this on its side. And you'll see several cables coming out of the control box. You've got your pressure control. So right here, you can increase or decrease the pressure. So now we just want to connect our fan to our control box. We've got these nice color-coded cables, and it's just a matter of matching the color to the cable and plugging it in. So blue with blue, yellow with yellow, and white with white. Got 2 sets. Here's the second set. Now, they are pretty secure, but if you wish to, you can also put a cable cover on there so you still have access, but it is more protected. And we are basically done for putting together the adapter. The only thing that's missing is installing the adapter onto your tractor, and also later on we will be installing the pressure gauge onto the adapter. All right, so we're done with the adapter, and now we're going to start on mounting our wizards to our toolbar. So first thing is, I recommend using a Sharpie and marking where you want to go. So once you have your wizard there, you won't really be able to see your lining anymore. So I know that this one is a 3-row at 15 inches. So first thing I do is I mark my 15. 1, 2, 3, 15. And I'll have a little line on the top telling me where my 15 is. And since it's a 3-row, I'll go ahead and mark the next 2 locations as well. Now I'm going to work on mounting the wizard onto the toolbar. So we've lowered the toolbar to be low enough to where we just need to push it forward to get it hooked up. It is possible to mount it to the front of the Tilmor tractor too. We do have a lowering kit that would allow the toolbar to go low enough where it's easy to mount. But for the back, we don't need that. So it's just a matter of pushing it forward and loading. Now, you'll go into your box. So this is your seed box. In the seed box, you'll find everything you need to mount it. So as you pull it, you have your mounting hardware. You'll also find another baggie, and that's a second shoe and cannons for your wizards. So I'm pretty sure Liddell talked about these in a different video. So we'll leave them in here for now. In the baggie, you'll find 2 U-bolts, 2 plates, and 4 nuts. And keep in mind, this is a European product, so you will need an 18 millimeter wrench to complete this. So I've got it mounted. I'll go ahead and install my U-bolts first. Now there are different mounting patterns. I prefer to go with the 2 outsides, but you can choose to go closer if you want. And now, keep in mind I have my line over here, so I will start by trying to adjust it to the middle bolt so that it matches the middle of the plate. From there. So one of the reasons why you have different mounting locations is for exactly this purpose. If I had wanted to go over here, it'd be impossible because of this weld plate. Which is why the last hole works very well. Now you have these plates to help stiffen the unit, and you just put it right after in front of the U-bolt, and just go ahead and thread your unit. So this is an 18 millimeter wrench, and it fits perfectly. Now you want to have these as tight as you can so that they don't get lost in the field. Now that we have our wizard installed, the next step would be to install our adapter that has our control box and our fan. Now you can install it with the fan box towards the back and the opposite way. But for the purpose of the tires being here, we are going to install it this way. So go back to the baggie that came in with your adapter. We'll just grab these, and it's going to be the same as the wizard. You've got 2 U-bolts, the plate, and some bolts. You will find an extra nut in there. We'll talk about that later. A little higher, a little bit more. There we go. All right, I can install both. That should help. There we go. I got it. Now you'll need a 9/16 to tighten it all up. Over here on your adapter you have your cable holder. It's great for any XF cable. Keep in mind that this is your pressure gauge, so you can take it up to the front of the tractor with you to adjust that from your seat. Wizard needs a power source, so to get the power source, we're going to install the 12 volt onto the cable, the power source cable. So the first step is to measure it down to 1.5 inches. So as you can see, they've been cut down to about 1.5 inches. The next portion is to strip the top of the wire to about 3/8 of an inch. Make sure they stay nice and tight. Next is we're going to take that adapter apart. So you use a flat screw head to take the back off. Now a small Phillips screwdriver to take the front. And the top should just pull right out. First thing is to get that cable through so that it sits on the back. Now we're going to install the connectors. As you can see, there are 4 different options here. With the silver on the side, we're actually going to use the 2 left ones. You want to make sure to use a flat head to pull those screws out. Make sure you pull the screws out as far as possible. So the red wire will be going to the in the connector to the left of the silver, and the black is going to go to the next one. Make sure to keep it pushed in as you're tightening so it doesn't slip out. So now that you have your red wire next to the gray opening, you want to make sure that both the red and the black wires don't have any loose strands sticking out and floating all over the area. Make sure it's a clean, no stray strands connection. Next, we will be putting the plug back together. So sliding it back on the unit in place and putting the screw in. Don't forget to tighten the back screw. And now your electrical cable is ready. All right, so first we have the adapter mounted to the side. And here is a second way you can mount your adapter. So by removing the bolts on the side of this plate, you can actually install the adapter to be mounted with your middle unit or whichever unit you want to give you a different adapting option. Then we just bolted it right onto the frame. Now we're going to work on setting up our gauge, our pressure gauge. So you'll have your bag with your pressure gauge, and we can set the pressure gauge aside now. You'll first need the elbow one and a screwdriver. Right here you have your yellow cap. There's two yellow caps, one on the top of the unit, another one on the bottom. We're going to be using the top one. Now it can be on any of your units. You only need to uncap one. You don't need a pressure for each of your seaters. You just need it on one seater. So I'm choosing the middle one, and I'm uncapping it. Now, once it's off, you might want to keep this for future use. If not, you can always toss it away, but I will just keep it in case the customer wants to plug it and use it in a different location. Then you'll take your 13 millimeter wrench, and there's two sections. There's the screw portion and there's the hose portion. So you want to go with the screw portion, and you can actually start threading it by hand. All right, once it's started a little bit, you can just grab your wrench and start spinning. Once it's in, this should be able to move freely to get it set up to where you want. The next step would be in the bag of nuts and bolts that was in the adapter pack, there should have been an extra bolt. And that is designed to be able to fit through this hole, allowing you to mount your pressure gauge. You should be able to mount your pressure gauge right on top. I personally prefer my pressure gauge to be sticking up more, so I've actually gotten a smaller nut and bolt to allow it to mount right over here. All right. Once it's mounted, all you need now is your hose. I'm gonna go ahead and open it. Make sure not to puncture your hose. Putting it in. Make sure it's pushed down and nice and secure. You can give it a little tug. Should be able to stay just fine. And connecting that to your gauge. Now, if you don't want the excess to be floating around, you can absolutely zip tie the excess or you can have it sitting in this pocket that is designed for extra tubing. And it's nice and secure. If you want to get it out, you just need to, I think it's push it up and pull. All right. So this section is designed to hold extra wires. So as you can see, it's holding the extra wire for the pressure gauge regulator. And now we're going to plug in our electrical cord. So this portion is going to be going into the tractor right down here. There it is. Let's go ahead and connect it to our volt box. All right, so the last step is now to connect all your wizards to the fan. We're going to use our tubing that we've cut to length, and taking the cap off of this, we're going to actually connect the wizard to the vacuum. It is nice and snug, so it doesn't go around and come off as you're using it. So you want to get it in as far down as you can. And don't be worried if your top is spinning. It is designed to spin, so you can get it at the appropriate section for you. So once you've got it in, you want to try to get it in pretty far. Okay. Now you want to connect it to the vacuum. Again, it's going to be nice and snug, so it doesn't just pop out with the use. And again, you want to get it in as far as you can. Now these hoses are 40 millimeters. They are metric. If you don't have access to 40 millimeter, you can use an 1.5 inches. An 1.5 inches is a little bit harder to get in. It's snugger, so you might need a heat gun to help you get it in. So basically you just want to heat around the top. Make sure you're not too close and you're heating it evenly. Once it starts to be more flexible and easier to manipulate, that's when you would fit it onto the opening. Now, whether it is the opening to the seater or the opening to the fan, it'll be about the same process for both. That's how you would use the heat gun. Since we don't need it for this unit, I'm not going to go ahead and install the white tubing for this, but the only thing that needs to happen for this unit now is for us to finish installing the third section and the tubing. Once that's done, the unit will be complete. We'd go ahead and run some tests, make sure the electrical works, make sure the vacuum does what it needs to do, and there's no loose tubings. And once that's done, just go ahead and install your seat plates and get planting. If you have any questions or you need any more information, just give us a call.